Hi there. It's been a while since I posted anything, but I got an interesting comment today. Someone asked if I could do a video about cost of living in New York. And, quote, how can 8 million people afford to spend $2,000 to live in tiny, tiny, tiny one-room apartments? And it's a very good question, because moving to New York is can be a problem because of the cost of living. So, this is very impromptu, and I'll do my best. If you're coming to move in New York, I would say, in general, the cost of living is about the same as the rest of the country, except for housing and apartments. But everything else, clothes, food, going out to dinner, drinks, it is about the same price. Now, if you've come here as a tourist and you've gone out in Manhattan and you've gone out around Times Square and things like that, you might be saying, hey, that's not true. I spent $15 for a hamburger and $12 for a beer. But that's really just a tourist area. So if you're living in a normal neighborhood in New York and you're shopping in the local grocery store, the food's quite reasonable. And there's tons of little restaurants and cafes and pizza places and falafel places and Indian places and Mexican places and Caribbean places, and it's cheap. I mean, you can go out and have lunch for $6. You can go out and have dinner for $15 or $20. So it's not bad. So I wouldn't worry about any of the other costs. But housing is a different story. Housing is expensive here, and it's ridiculous. So I would say here are the general prices. A studio apartment, which is just a one-room apartment, you're probably going to have to pay somewhere from $1,000 to $1,500, depending on what part of the city you live in. If you want to get a one-bedroom apartment, then you're probably talking somewhere from $1,300 to $1,800, depending on what part of the city you live in. Anything more than that, you're probably not going to want a two-bedroom apartment if you're just one person coming here. So how do people do this? Well, the farther out you get from Manhattan, the cheaper it is. So, of course, Manhattan is going to be expensive. Brooklyn is cheaper. Queens is cheaper. Bronx is cheaper. And more people are moving out to those areas. It used to be that Manhattan was the only place people lived, and people thought Brooklyn and Queens and the Bronx were dangerous or whatever, but the city is just expanding and growing. So in all of those areas now, there's great restaurants and things like that. So that's the one thing to do. A lot of people share. So you could maybe find a two-bedroom apartment for $2,000. For sharing with someone, you can spend $1,000 each. It sounds unusual, but a lot of people do that here, and it's not a big deal. It's just life in New York. It's expensive, so apartments are small, people share. And I guess what happens is that there's so much going on in the city that often your apartment just becomes a place to eat and sleep. It's really not like other places where it's your place where you spend a lot of time and lounge around and watch TV and things like that. It tends to become a place where you sleep and eat. So, some other things to consider. You don't need a car in New York, and you don't want a car. You can get anywhere in the city on the subway. It's safe. It runs 24 hours a day. You can get an unlimited monthly pass for $76. So all your transportation costs can be covered by $76. So no car payment, no parking, no car insurance. So figure that into it. So that's about it. I would say if you're thinking of moving here, the things to keep in mind are you don't have a car, so if that's a problem with you, you don't want to live here. Housing is expensive, and it's a trade-off for living in an interesting place, but it is a pain. Everything else, food, drink, stuff like that, is about the same. The one thing that is very strange about New York and is a real pain is most times to get an apartment you have to go through a broker, through a real estate agent. And they usually ask you for first month's rent, last month's rent, and they usually charge you a 12% fee, 12% of the yearly rent. It's crazy, I know, but that's what happens. So you put down your first month, last month, and then 12% is usually about another month and a half's rent. Sometimes they even ask for first month, last month security, and the 12%, and it's crazy. So the best place to look for apartments if you are going to come to New York, go to www.craigslist.com. I'm sure everyone knows about Craigslist. Go to Craigslist, go to the New York part, and search for an apartment. And if you have questions, ask me. I'd be happy to help more. This was just sort of a brief introduction, but if you want to know more about different parts of the city, where it's good to live, it's an interesting place. It's fun. There's great food here. I love not having a car. People are actually pretty friendly here, despite the stereotype. But housing is expensive and small, and it's a pain. Maybe I can. Let's see. Here's my bedroom. Oh. See, I'm lucky. I live in a 2-bedroom apartment, so. Oh. Oh well. Anyway, bye.